Okay, so we're diving into this whole prompt engineering thing today, figuring out how to talk to AI, and actually get it to do what you want.
Sounds fun.
We're looking at Ian Kahn's quick guide to prompt engineering, articles, definitions, even tips for specific AI tools, the whole shebang.
Yeah, it's a pretty good overview.
So hopefully by the end of this deep dive, we'll all be like, prompt ninjas or something.
I like that prompt ninjas. And the cool thing is you don't need to be a tech whiz to make this work for you.
Right, exactly. The book actually says that being good at prompts is becoming like its own essential skill, almost like a new literacy everyone needs, which is a pretty bold statement when you think about it. So why does Khan think it's so important?
Well, think of it this way. AI is like this powerful engine. Right?
Yeah.
It's got all this potential, but without the right steering wheel, you're not going to get very far. Prompts, that's your steering wheel. They're how you take control and tell the AI where you want to go.
Okay, I can see that. So it's not just about like typing in any random question. It's about crafting a really specific instruction to get the best result.
Exactly. And it can be used in every field imaginable. I mean, Khan talks about marketers using prompts to analyze consumer data and come up with like hyper-personalized product suggestions, almost like an AI whisperer, guiding customers to the perfect purchase.
It's like having a personal assistant who can predict what you want before you even know it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just marketers. Like imagine teachers using prompts to personalize lesson plans based on each student's needs, or lawyers digging up hyper-specific precedents from like mountains of case law. The applications seem endless.
Okay, you've convinced me good prompts are key. But how do we actually make a prompt good? Is there like a secret formula?
Well, there's definitely a strategy involved. The book actually breaks it down quite nicely, almost like giving the AI a recipe.
A recipe, huh? Interesting. So what are the ingredients for a killer prompt?
First, you need your action words, or what Khan calls trigger words. These tell the AI what to do. So do you want it to summarize,
Yeah.
translate, write a poem, analyze data? That's your first ingredient.
Okay, action words, check. What's next?
Then you need your subject. What do you actually want the AI to focus on? Could be a concept, a data set, a problem you're trying to solve. Really, it could be anything.
So like if my trigger is summarize, my subject could be the history of the internet.
Exactly. You got it.
Yeah.
But to get a really, delicious result, you need to refine the recipe even further. That's where context comes in.
Context, like adding more details to the subject.
Exactly. Think like time frames, locations, target audience, anything that narrows the focus.
Sure.
So instead of just the history of the internet, you might say, summarize the history of the internet in the 1990s, focusing on its impact on education, for example.
So it's like zooming in on a specific aspect of the subject, more specific, better results.
Yeah, exactly. You're getting it. And then to really fine-tune that recipe, you can add constraints. These are kind of like boundaries. They tell the AI what not to do or what format to use.
Like keep it under 500 words or no jargon.
Exactly. The book has this great example. Write about bears versus write a children's poem about a polar bear who loves snowflakes. Same AI, but wildly different outputs.
Okay, that makes total sense. Clear, specific instructions make all the difference. But Khan keeps mentioning this idea of iterative prompting. Is that just a fancy way of saying we need to keep rewriting our prompt?
It's more like having a conversation with the AI, than just giving orders.
A conversation? With a computer, how does that even work?
Well, think of it this way. You start with a solid prompt, see what the AI comes up with, and then you can refine your prompt based on that. It's about getting closer and closer to that perfect output.
So it's less about getting it perfect on the first try and more about that back and forth, constantly improving the results as you go.
Exactly. It's like you're both learning from each other. Let's say you want the AI to, I don't know, summarize a complex research paper. Your first prompt might get you a decent overview, but maybe it's missing some key details.
So you'd look at what it did give you and realize, oh, I need to be more specific about these aspects.
Right. You tweak the prompt, and boom. The AI's next output is even closer to what you need. It's all a process.
That makes it seem much less daunting, knowing you don't have to nail it right away. But can you really use this prompt engineering stuff for anything, or is it mostly for, like, writing and research?
Oh, the possibilities are truly mind-blowing. Remember, we're not just talking about writing emails or summaries. The book talks about how this stuff applies to all sorts of fields. Education, law, healthcare, finance, even music composition.
Music composition, that's fascinating. So how about a concrete example, like in the field of dot medicine?
Okay, so imagine a doctor who needs to analyze mountains of patient data
Hmm.
to identify, say, risk factors for a particular disease. They could use prompts to guide the AI, saying something like, analyze this data for patients over 50 with a family history of heart disease and highlight any correlations with lifestyle factors.
So the AI could potentially find patterns that a human doctor might miss just because it can process so much information so quickly.
Precisely. Or think about like urban planning. A city planner could use prompts to model how different traffic flow scenarios would play out based on proposed infrastructure changes.
So it's like having a crystal ball that lets you preview the impact of different decisions. This is starting to feel less like science fiction and more like a seriously useful tool. But like any powerful tool, there must be a flip side, right?
You're absolutely right. As amazing as prompt engineering can be, we need to be mindful of its potential downsides too.
Like what should we be watching out for? So we've talked about this incredible potential, but what about the risks? What are some of the downsides to be aware of?
Well, one thing that comes up a lot is, the potential for misuse. Like any powerful tool, prompt engineering can be used for, well, good and bad.
Right. Okay. Makes sense. It's like giving someone a hammer. You can build a house or you could.
Cause some damage.
Exactly.
Exactly. And because these prompts are so powerful in actually shaping the AI output, we need to be really careful about how it's used, especially in areas with serious consequences, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, any specific examples of how prompt engineering could be misused?
Well, imagine like someone using prompts to generate harmful content, like propaganda, misinformation, things like that, designed to manipulate public opinion.
Oh, yeah. That's a scary thought. Someone using AI to spread fake news or even create like those convincing deepfakes to ruin someone's reputation.
Exactly. And because AI is getting more sophisticated so quickly, it's becoming harder to tell what's real and what's, fabricated. It's really scary. That's why it's so crucial to have those safeguards in place.
So, how do we prevent those kinds of malicious uses? Does Khan offer any solutions in the book?
He does. He talks about the importance of developing ethical guidelines for prompt engineering and, using AI responsibly.
Ethical guidelines. Okay. What would that look like in practice?
Well, for starters, it could involve educating people about the potential risks of AI
Okay.
and then promoting transparency in like how these AI systems are developed and used.
So, kind of like a code of conduct for prompt engineers and AI developers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just about individual responsibility either, right? We need to think about regulation and oversight at a much broader level.
Right. That makes sense. I mean, we have rules for almost everything else. It makes sense that we need rules for AI too, especially as it's getting more powerful.
Absolutely. And these regulations need to be, adaptable. They need to constantly evolve alongside the technology itself.
Yeah, it's like a game of cat and mouse almost, trying to stay one step ahead of those who might use AI for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. It's definitely a challenge, but it's one that we need to like address head on. The future of AI kind of depends on it.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We talked about how to craft a good prompt, how to refine it through that iterative prompting, and even touched on some of the potential downsides, the ethical considerations. It's clear that prompt engineering is, well, it's a powerful tool, and it has the potential to revolutionize countless industries.
Yeah.
But as with any powerful tool, it's crucial to use it responsibly and ethically. It really makes you think about all the different angles, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But I mean, hey, that's kind of what we're here for, right? To like unpack all this complex stuff and make it a little less intimidating.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power, right?
Yes.
Especially with all this new technology coming out, AI especially.
So true. So we covered how to actually write good prompts, that whole iterative process of making them better, and even like the ethical side of things. But honestly, it feels like we're just scratching the surface of what you can actually do with prompt engineering?
It's true, yeah. I mean, this whole field is moving so fast. What's cutting edge today is old news tomorrow.
I know. Trying to keep up with AI is like trying to hold on to a rocket ship.
Uh-huh.
But in a way, that's also what makes it so interesting. Who knows what we'll be talking about a year from now, right?
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to just, stay curious,
Mm.
keep experimenting. Don't be afraid to like try new things with your prompts and see what happens. See what's possible.
It's like we're all pioneers in this crazy new AI world.
In a way, I guess we are. And just like those early pioneers, we have a responsibility to shape this technology the right way, make sure it benefits humanity as a whole.
That's a really good point. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's like the one thing you want listeners to take away from all of this?
I think the biggest thing is that prompt engineering isn't just, some super technical skill that only coders or engineers can use. It's a tool that anyone can learn.
Hmm.
And it has the potential to really change how we work, how we learn, how we create, how we interact with the world, basically.
I like that. Perfectly said. And there you have it, prompt engineering in a nutshell, without all the complicated jargon. One thing that really stuck with me is that idea that, like, we are all pioneers in this new AI landscape.
It's a pretty exciting time to be alive, right?
It really is. So if you could prompt an AI to do absolutely anything, what would it be? Let us know. Maybe we'll deep dive into that next time.